Hey everybody, this is Gavin from Lechuga UVS. I'm here with the response on players. This time we're doing a Tekken 8 character first impressions and first ranking now that we've got all 15 out. And I'm here with Steph, Brian, and James.
Yo.
That's me.
Hello.
So, Tekken, it's a pretty big set for me. I think this is personally the first UVS set past MHA that I'm like easily 10 out of 10 on. I mean, I've been growing up with Tekken, like playing Tekken 3 way back in the day, and then Tekken 6, Tekken 7, Tekken 8, something that I've played casually all the time pretty much. Tekken 8, I've only got like 20 hours in it, but I'm a huge fan of the lore, the characters, the aura, as they say, of this property is, I think, unparalleled, to be honest. What do you guys think? Were y'all like super interested in Tekken, or is it just like, oh, that's cool, or do we got any Tekken haters in the chat?
I wouldn't say I'm a Tekken hater. I am a Tekken played it on release and then was like, you know what? I don't actually like fighting games that much. And to be fair, I tried two characters. I tried Devil Jin and was like, I hate this guy, even though I like him as a concept. And then I tried um Alyssa or Alyssa, I don't remember how to say it, and she was great. She was really fun. I just spammed her head like movement the entire
Oh yeah,
time, and I was like, that's the whole game. I've played
yeah.
Tekken. I'm good.
And that was 8 specifically, wasn't it?
Eight specifically, yeah. When it came out, all my friends were like, Tekken, it's amazing. And then I was like, this sure is a fighting game. A good fighting game. I'm just, I'm not a fighting game player. But you are correct. There's a lot of aura in this game for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, eight's the only one that I played. I played a little bit of it, but at the time I was playing a lot of Street Fighter 6, and I was like, I'm not gonna play two fighting games at the same time because I'm gonna be bad at both of them. So I'm
Yeah.
And it's
not
important for him to
not
be
been able to
good.
put much time into it. So
Yeah.
I did enjoy what I played of it though.
So I think I'm the only one besides you, Gavin, who's played more than one Tekken. I still own my PS2 Tekken 4. It's downstairs.
Mm.
I played that a lot. Played the first Tekken Tag quite a bit. And then I played some 8 with them and watched like Tekken 8 tournament stuff because I watch some content creators that play that game. So yeah, I mean, I don't. It's not my favorite of the fighting game series, but I was super hyped when they said, "Hey, we're getting Tekken."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, Coming into it, I mean, I was really hoping that at the very least we would get some sort of Elisa Boskanovich that
Hmm.
I could really dig into because she is my main and she was in Tekken 7 and now still is in Tekken 8. They made her really crazy in the game. I don't know if y'all
In
know
8,
about
yeah,
that,
she's
but
messed up.
in 8, yeah, the community is just always complaining about her.
Yeah, spam head, win the game. That
Yeah.
is Tekken.
And not to spoil anything, but I am hoping to see her pretty late into this list for sure.
I will say they didn't put
Um,
one of the characters I really wanted to be in here.
yeah, which one?
I wanted Brian so that I could reveal
I
Brian.
really, I really wanted Brian too. Yeah, he's got some crazy aura. He's like one of the most evil dudes ever.
He's insane.
Steve Fox would have
Just
been
like
really
in real
cool.
life.
Dude, Steve
Yeah,
would have been cool. I was down for
we
Steve as
actually
well.
have him. We actually do have him in the Tekken 6 Legacy set, but he's very bad. It would have been really cool to see him again. Without further ado, we'll get into it. To hopefully something that's not super shocking. At number 15, we have Heihachi Mishima. Oh man, what do I even say? He the problem I think is that this character's text is a really nice like six-hander with that 32 health. He doesn't draw cards. He doesn't stop your opponent from just blocking everything. He doesn't even benefit throws. He doesn't have the 38 to 40 health that I think he should have had if he was going to be a five-hander. I mean, he's got no defensive ability. You can always translate momentum into some sort of thing, whether it be his powerful four or some sort of defensive ability. That's a little open ended, and he's one of those guys that like if you told me you were winning locals consistently, I would be a little shocked, but it's not like the craziest thing because he at least has, a path to victory. Eventually you can find your opponent in a position where they can't block anymore, and you just dump all of your saved up momentum, kind of like power tokens. How like the power tokens essentially just say your opponent has minus that much health once I get you to a point where you can't block. But I think with the five hander, the 32 health, I don't really see how you're ever going to get your opponent into a position where they can't block. I mean, you're only going to have five cards. You can imagine that two to three of them on average will be foundations. He's just I don't really know, and it's really disappointing because he's like one of the most like iconic characters from the entire series. He was the main antagonist of Tekken 1, and he's just been dying and coming back over and over again, and he just came out so weak. The coolest thing you can do with this guy is just first form and build and pass, but even whenever you're doing that, I mean, he's just a five-hander. Who really cares if he's getting a momentum and then building what, three or four cards and passing? Yeah, with 32 health, he's just gonna die. So I don't have very much hope about that, but I'm interested to hear if y'all have any opinions about that.
Well, I definitely think you're right that he's like one of the most hyped characters because when we were in Vegas doing like the social media takeover, they showed like a playmat, I think, with him on it. And
Hmm.
it was like one of the first things we saw for Tekken 8. And like people went crazy. Like people like in the room were like screaming. Like they were so excited for Heihachi. And yeah, he doesn't look that exciting. I'm not really sure why they decided to go with five hand size instead of six because I think you're right. Like I saw this and my brain was just like he's six hand size, and then I had to like look at the hand size icon and I was like, why is he only five hand size? Like maybe they were worried that the free momentum was going to be too strong because he's got chaos on him. I don't really know. It seems like a really confusing choice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he gets to steal a lot of momentum, which is very good. I do agree. He probably should have had a little bit more health. I do think he has.
Mm.
You have that the con is one dimensional. I think at the local level, that's really nice. Like for people who are trying to get into the game and are like, dude,
That's
Heihachi is
true.
so cool. I feel like Heihachi's gonna be so cool for them because you just get to
Yeah,
go,
that's true.
hey man, it's gigantic.
That's
And
true. He's Godzilla mode, kind of like me, big attack. This feels good.
Yeah, I think my main pushback against that is kind of like, I'm theoretically I'm interested in like the starter deck like Bo and Percy, but they
mhm,
just like kneecapped them for no reason, so that those newer players are going to be like, oh yeah, all I have to do is get my momentum and spend it. That's all I got to do. But then they just die out of nowhere, and they're like, dang, this game sucks. I can't do anything with this.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a really good
but that's
point because
true.
that's something that we noticed at our locals back when we lived in a place that had a local and we moved. We don't have one right now. But like we would go there and we'd have these new players and it's like everybody who is at our locals because this game is so small, everyone is like playing to compete. And so like these new people would just get like blasted out of the water by like James playing I don't remember what he was playing at the time. It was
Anything,
some like nasty, disgusting deck. And then we have people
every James deck.
like Tam and Rebby and like the trading post guys coming down to our LC and they're just like nuking these new guys from orbit. Like this just
Yeah,
not a great like time for them. And they were just playing like upgraded starter decks, so or not starter decks, upgraded like
Like the challenger
champ
decks.
decks or whatever. So like yeah, like I agree with you there. Maybe that's not such a good thing that it's simple
yeah,
and not good.
Yeah, I'm
yeah. Like if
just
if you if you want to make them simple, but just upgrade that hand size, I'm totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if he were all the same words, 632, I think he would not be where like I don't know if he's necessarily the worst of the 15, but he's definitely in that running. But I definitely
Yeah.
think he would be pretty solidly middle of the pack, maybe even in the upper end if he had the extra card per turn. Even just the extra card per turn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. I think if he can find the card draw, the coolest thing that he can do is he still gets to play Rampage on turn 2, but
Oh.
you've got to find the card draw.
Yeah, we were already complaining about being like a six-hander king of the monsters with Rampage and being like, "Oh, I didn't draw my attacks." Imagine being this guy. I mean, that would feel horrible.
Hmm.
All right, well, we're finally out of the woods, though. I will say that that's really the only stinker in this set. Where like, even if you want to win locals, I would not recommend this guy. It's just an uphill battle. But after that, we've got King. So
Oof.
he's a five hander with 30 health, and he's like almost exclusively, if not exclusively, gated into throw tribal. It's going to be really, really cool to play throw after throw after throw when you do draw that hand of just five throws, and maybe you throw in a draw and draw another throw, play six of them. He does honestly move up like maybe one or two slots now that we've seen his secret rare
Hmm.
that got revealed yesterday, but I kind of want to be, as biased as possible, like with what the cards come out, because obviously anybody can get a, ridiculous, secret rare that busts them.
Yeah,
But
breaks them in half.
yeah, going his secret rare into growing grasp, into his secret rare into growing grasp. I mean, that just sounds like, a god turn right there. I put one of the biggest cons there is just that there's no damage pump, obviously. And I do love that he is so like shaped differently from something like Hedora.
Hmm.
He's not better or worse than Hedora necessarily. He's very different, but it is going to be a hard sell to be like, okay, well, you as a newer player can go to a regional with this throw tribal deck. Do you want to go with the guy that plays three or four and your opponent is dead, or do you want to go with the guy that gets hit for like 15 damage and then heals a bunch of it back and then just eventually dies? I mean, I don't know if I would even say it eventually because he's a five-hander with 30 health. I mean, if your opponent can just deal the 30, that's going to be the biggest problem. You don't
Hmm.
have, you have that low health, no defense. Your throws have horrible block mods and usually don't have good block effects or anything like that to keep you alive. So if your opponent is able to just deal 30 in a turn, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be very easy to just make this character read horrible.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is like we're giving these five handers like yeah he gains health, but like if you're five handers, if you're not drawing a bunch of attacks, you're not gaining that much health. 30 is not that much, honestly, especially with no defense. And because you're a five hander, unless you're drawing extra cards, you can't play out your attacks to gain a bunch of health and then also protect yourself from the crackback. So I'm pretty on board with this for you.
Yeah, I
I
think
have
he's not as
wait,
good as I would want him to
I have a
be.
quick question. I'm sorry, five hand size. Like, has this ever been good in Universes? I don't know if I've ever seen a good five hand size character.
Oh man, I've got a truth nuke for you. Devil Jin.
Oh, what? Wait, is
Devil
he
Yeah,
Yeah.
five hand size for
He
real?
was, yes.
yeah, he
Okay,
Not
is.
but
not
he's
for
not. He's
real. I
not
mean,
really
it's yeah. I
though.
was gonna say it's printed five, but he's not a five hander for real. But
Yeah,
Or
like he's
you know,
not tech.
Byako has been a menace.
Bertolt Hoover
Uh,
too.
Ochako 2 back in the
Ochako
day.
yeah,
too.
Right.
Ochako
Ochako
too.
too
There
was
was a
not quite good
moment.
enough, but I loved her.
Um.
There was a moment when people were
She won a
begging for
regional.
fourth kind to get banned.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
and
Okay.
Nomu has been a menace and probably still is in Hero 2, for pretty much all of his lifespan. But
Okay.
yeah, the selling point for like a five-hander that doesn't draw cards at all has to be like something that just jumps out at you like as broken. And the non-progressive thing for King is like almost there, but again, with no way to draw cards, you're not going to be building that many foundations to really capitalize on it. You could just check poorly, and it's like, oh, it didn't even really matter. I'm playing a five, and then a five, and then a five, and
Hmm.
I don't have any more foundations.
Yeah, I think if he gave 2 damage instead of 2 speed, like when he responded and was at max health, I think he's just like, yeah, man, I'm a high roll character. I'm just trying to go first.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna get so much out of it that it won't matter that I don't give damage on my turn 3. Because why would I block? You're not doing 30. But without that, it's just kind of there are other characters on pretty much each of his symbols that can play throws and give them damage, and are and by that metric are going to be better than him.
yeah. Sharing the Earth symbol with Hedora is just like a little silly. It's kind of like, why would I ever play Earth symbol King when I could play Earth symbol Hedora?
Or Earth symbol Grog.
Yeah. It's pretty cute that he gives throw speed because we don't see that very often. It makes his throws when you're at full health is the big asterisk. It makes your throws better against a lot of throw hate because almost all throw hate is like based on blocking, like Protector of Life and Mikasa defeats the female Titan, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that throws already start out slow means that you're going to change your 2 or 3 speed into a 4 or 5 speed throw, and I don't know, your opponent's probably not going to have that much more difficulty blocking them.
They'll
But
have to
it's
spend
I think
one of
it's
their speed hate moves and then block.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a cute design space. I would like it to be a little more achievable than just being at max health. But
Mm-hmm. Art looks sick. He looks so cool.
yeah,
He does.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Oh
did
man,
so did Heihachi.
Yeah.
yeah, especially oh man, we're gonna talk about wolf markers probably more throughout the video, but the wolf marker arts, like the alts,
The
the
alts look so
Heihachi
good.
playmat, the King playmat. I mean, God, it's all so good. Elisa, she has a playmat, and
Mm-hmm.
her alt as well. Lord have mercy.
Horang.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's peak.
They all look so good.
Yeah. Moving on to number 13, we have Victor Chevalier. He's a big asset guy. I find that he's just a little too blank for me. I would have been so down for this character if that response just wasn't gated. I think he has to push early advantage because as soon as your opponent has 8 foundations and you're able to commit 2 to 4 of them in a turn cycle, he feels a lot more ineffective at his job. Let alone once you get into like the deep like 10 foundations or more, and he's only able to interact with 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the price of that would be like, oh, I have 6 weapon assets on my board. I can make you commit 6. I'm like, to me, that sounds like a fine, that's a fine deal. Like, if you're gonna say you have to have 6 weapon assets on your board that you can commit in a turn cycle, then fine, you can have that. But it's really cool to be able to play airship on a 2, being able to play Leo's katana on a -1 effectively. The fact that it works with blocking as well is really cool. All of your assets effectively have -1 to their block mod. Um, he just, I don't know, kind of doesn't do much, and he's gated to only weapon assets for that response. So again, the day that we're considering playing Leo's katana, I mean, we really got to look at our character and say, is this what I want to bring to a regional?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think this is probably who I would have put in 15 because I think
Really?
at least Heihachi kills somebody. Like has a guaranteed game plan of I don't know if you dirtle around way too much, I'll just have a bunch of momentum. I'll play an EX move and it'll have powerful 4, and I'll just spend it all. But like he doesn't get that. If he just doesn't see anything ever, he does nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been really cool if he actually had the form to search for an asset instead of Yoshimitsu, because then I could understand it being gated to weapon assets. But in my mind, I'm like, well, if my opponent's really trying to rush me down and I've got my 2 weapon assets, I can make them commit 2, and they really won't be able to kill me anymore. And then on my turn, I can have the commit 2. In the early game, if you can get your opponent down 4 foundations, like that is really strong.
Mhm.
That's probably where his win condition exists. The problem being that once once they start building even more foundations, then you really lose your opportunity to kill really quickly. Yeah.
I think he just loses in the same manner that like Mineta 2 would lose, where instead of attacking on turn 2, you just said, okay, fair enough, man. I'll just build 5 and pass. You don't kill me yet. So
Yeah.
now I
Absolutely.
don't care that you commit 2 of my stuff. You'll commit 2 on my turn again, on your turn again, and then I'll start my turn. You'll commit 2 of them, but I get to play my turn.
But yeah, overall, not too much exciting. That's the problem. I think like the fact that he only has as many lines of text that he does. I think we could have fit a third ability in here. Maybe like it'd be cool to see like the mimic response, like when you commit a weapon asset, plus or minus some damage or something like that. That could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
his kit's really cool though. That 2 check that just can like ignore progressive, and then you play another one and it ignores progressive for the rest of the turn. I mean, that's dope.
Yeah, I actually think the Karambit's kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah,
plus 2
yeah,
minus
for
2 is
sure.
a very solid.
Yeah. Moving on, we have a tragic one for you guys.
Oh my god, so
Huarang.
sad. How dare you put him at 12? That's terrible. Explain
Huarang,
yourself.
Huarang gang at number 12. Yeah, I mean, I really don't want to. I think like because like clearing a kick in the enhanced step and then giving +2 to speed to everything. It's really it's really cool. I think I'm really frustrated by that last ability there, where it's like if you have cycled, you get to do the character thing a second time, and that's your whole reward.
Second time each turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
clear two, which is cool. But yeah, I agree that it doesn't mill enough.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, my hot take is I think you either make him mill like 4, like he doesn't have the death symbol, so we shouldn't have to be worried about like loss of consciousness. And I'm with you. The last guy that milled every enhanced step was Porco, and also he didn't buff his opponent's stuff like Huarang does. He milled 3, but he had the death symbol, so people were actually like getting mad about that. But all we're really doing with him is like Wolf's Ferocity to give +1/+1, which is pretty cool, but being gated by mill 2 is really unfortunate. And then being like, okay, well, I've milled 2. If I want to use it on my opponent's turn, I have to give their attack speed, which is so frustrating. I think you either make him mill 4, or you say your attack gets +2 speed, or the crazy one is to just say that the enhance to ready this card is not once per turn. Like once you've cycled, you are just a demon. Like
Yeah, that sounds sick
it,
Yeah.
actually.
it's a huge goal, to mill 2 every enhanced step. Like I
Yeah.
feel like once you reach that goal and you're still alive as a 7 hand size 22 health with no defensive ability, you should be rewarded with something that is truly pog. Like just I don't even care if it's crazy broken with 100 lightning kicks, just I've cycled, this is my moment, I'm going in.
Yeah, it's time to win
Um
the
Yeah,
game.
Another huge negative there real quick is just like kicks. I know that in that article they mentioned that there's 27 kicks in Tekken 8, but man, it is not a very cohesive strategy at the moment.
yeah. The biggest problem that I'm seeing, and maybe I haven't seen a lot of the new kicks, so maybe they fix it a little bit. But like, you're playing a mill game plan and you're playing a kick game plan. The problem is the kicks don't mill unless we get unless the new ones do. Like the kicks we already have, our mill has never been a part of the kick strategy, so like they don't really fit together.
To be fair, you don't have to play only kicks. You can just only clear kicks. It says this attack, which means any attack you play, including the ones that do mill, do get that speed. But I agree. I mean, he says kick on his character. You want to play kicks. Um, I think he probably should have just had Endeavor 3's your turn enhance mill 4, and then they could have even given it your turn tenacious, and let him clear a kick, and then still keep everything else the same, or at least mill 3. Like one
Yeah.
extra card matters.
Or even, be daring, Porco was 24 health. Maybe you make this guy 25 health and be like, that's his defensive ability.
3 extra health. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. He is pretty exciting. Like I've got my promo 100 lightning kicks just sitting in my binder waiting for a moment, and I think this is the moment that I'm gonna bring those out. Again, it's cheating. He's got that one card that's like whenever your kicks are completely blocked, they steal deal 1, and I believe you can also
Right,
just
Flamingo.
order it so that yeah, right Flamingo. You can order it so that if you have a heat token, they also lose 1. I think so. I think that's how that works.
If it's completely blocked, yeah, you can respond there. You can respond with the other in the window, and then you can also, because on the same, you have Tensho kicks, which will just say, hey, that kick dealt damage, so I'll burn 1 again. So you can actually fake
Oh,
3 if you put a Tensho in the pool.
yeah, and now the fact that the Tensho promo kicks that they had at Worlds, and now they just kind of sneak drop them. Those are finally going to get played. That's exciting. Yeah.
Is there a world where some of the cards we have not seen from the Tekken set yet could make him good? Like maybe like
Um,
top 5, or is he just like it's
he,
not happening?
Oh man, top 5 is a huge climb, to be
yeah,
honest. Like there's some of these characters coming up where you read it and you're just like, holy moly, like just so free after free after free. And his is just
less
just
free.
not free. I mean, we have
Yeah.
effectively the same ability on Eddie, who's coming up much later, where he just makes one of your things not count towards progressive. But because it's a form ability, you can play your attack, and then after it resolves, you form and just make it not count so that you never have to risk checking badly on your second one. But because his
Mm.
is at enhanced speed, you have to, play your second attack, risk checking badly on that one, and then you get to clear something for all of your, your third and greater attack to move on. Um, so I don't know. Um,
Damn. Well,
if
that's
kicks,
that's
but
sad.
I think there is, if they did really want to push kicks like to the moon, then there's always a dream, right?
I mean, right
Yeah.
now, I think the coolest thing for him to do with his clear a kick is Mikasa's knee strike on defense. So you just block and breaker to them, and then you
Oh,
go, "Do you want to play another attack? Because I will clear this, and I'll block whatever else too."
you're speaking my language. Knee strike, or Mikasa specifically, knee strike is one of my favorite cards for sure. And he's a seven hander, so the discard for 3 damage doesn't hurt as much on offense.
And I mean, and he will always have it, so it's on any of his good symbols. Since it's a life attune, so
Oh, and it already starts at 5 speed, so you're making it a 7/7. Yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying though. Like, dude, Heihachi's the only one that I really can't believe in. There's sauce for everybody up here. It only gets harder to say like this guy's not topping a regional as you go forward.
for sure.
Next up, we've got Sergey Dragunov. So the big thing for him, like in a world where Massive Mutant Machine rotates, I think he moves down quite a few spots. It's a little weird. His character is kind of all over the place. He gives damage, and then has an incentive for something not being blocked, but your rival is going to try to block it if you're giving it damage, right? And then he rewards you for playing a block by committing himself, so you only really get it once per turn cycle. And then he doesn't like have a minus speed button or a card draw button or anything like that. I mainly have him up here for two things, just because unflipping is really strong. There's that the 4 difficulty foundation that we got in the set that's like flip, draw 2 cards, and then lose 5 if you don't have a heat token.
Yeah.
You could theoretically have all 4 of them in your stage with this guy, unflip 1, then flip it again to draw 2, unflip another, flip to draw 2, unflip another, and just keep going. He's got one huge card for him other than MMM is Walking Fortress. That's going to allow you to destroy itself and get anything you want to unflip into your stage, including that 4 diff. Like if you're thinking, oh, Gavin, this is a unique 4 diff. How am I going to get into my stage? But other than that, honestly, not a lot going on with him. 2 damage and not blocking is really dubious to me personally.
He is gonna absolutely struggle into characters like Rodan, who are like, I already planned on blocking, so I'll just block, and then you don't really do much.
Yeah, he's not really like ramping any kind of like inevitability. I mean, that's why I think MMM is going to be, his absolute best friend though. It's just like when I want something to not get blocked, all right, boom, 5 speed.
But I mean, that means he's what? Is he gonna build it? Like, because
Well, he's gonna,
if he gets it off
yeah.
the top and then they block everything, that's just a blank foundation.
Well, you can build it face down with Walking Fortress is the big thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have to get that first attack to get unflipped, and probably as soon as your opponent sees the Walking Fortress build the MMM face down, they're like, all right, well, no matter what happens, I am blocking everything. I'm gonna hunker down.
Blocking until I literally cannot anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like you have to run some kind of like, if you block, I'm going to do terrible things to you kind of cards. And I don't know how much of that matters more than
It's
an
not
MMM.
Yeah, there's not as many of them as there used to be. There's not really like punished on blocks that there used to be. Also, like it says is not blocked, which means you can't even get around like, hey, I'm gonna play this throw and get damage
Yeah.
to try and unflip something.
Yeah, he's yeah, definitely a little all over the place for sure. Next, we've got Asuka Kazuma at number 10. So, this one I would say this is probably the most one-note character in the set. The note is really strong though. Like if your opponent ever, goes into you at all, then, you're going to be able to block. And as long as you survive, they are like almost undoubtedly dead. You're going to be playing tons of stuff to clear or clog your own card pool. I know there's the action from Godzilla that's like we both add the top of our deck into our card pools face down.
Ocean
Again,
Buddy.
this is cheating. Yeah. Well, Ocean Buddy too. Yeah. But The big question is just what if they don't attack, That's kind of it's not going to happen too often, obviously. I think a lot of decks are going to be trying to not attack you for quite a few turns and then calculate, okay, well this hand definitely kills her, so I'm going to finally go in, and then maybe the Asuka can go back and be like, well, actually that turn didn't kill me, and now I'm going to give +7/+7 to all of my stuff, and you're definitely dead. The real question is what happens whenever your opponent just doesn't ever attack you. Like they plan on milling you out. Do you have a strategy for that? There's stuff like, on the water symbol, she's got Godzilla versus Biolante being like, if you're in deadlock, I'm going to probably win the game because that card has a ridiculously strong deadlock.
True.
But then there's stuff like imprisoned and Batra arrives that can counter that. So she does beg the question of your rival of like, what do you do now that I'm like commanding the game to be played differently? Like you can't just poke me for free and not expect at least a huge backswing. Maybe it doesn't kill you, but like you're gonna hit me. I'm gonna have +2/+2 next turn. That's pretty strong. Um, but if you ever go in and whiff really hard, then yeah, you're just certainly dead.
I mean, I think she doesn't have to have her opponent go in quite as strong as you're talking about, because like you said, there's like 2 or 3 cards on water that stuff both, and if your opponent plays 2 attacks and you play those, you have 4 cards in your card pool as long as you block twice or deflect if you don't want to block the second one.
Yeah, deflect is huge for her. Just being like, I don't even have to block. I'm just gonna put something into the card pool.
Because like Ocean Buddies lets her put in her attack that stays, or if you played her attack that stays, and so you start with 1 in the pool regardless.
Yeah, I love that card a lot.
Yeah, I think that card's
Um,
key to this character.
yeah, you're playing for that every day of the week for sure.
You're trying to figure out ways to play it more than like you want to play more than 4 before you cycle somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this character looks really interesting. I do think it is
I want to
gonna.
play this character so bad.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have a little bit of that. Like you said, we're just gonna stare at each other for the whole 30 minutes or the whole hour, and maybe one of us mills out.
Well, the
But
thing is though, like a lot of mill strategies still require you to play cards on your turn at your at your rival.
mhm.
Because a lot of those characters
Yeah.
that want to do that say, "Hey, when I play an attack, I'm gonna make you do a thing," and when they do that, you go, "Cool, now I'm gonna. Does this kill me? Because if not, I'm gonna give myself +2/+2 at a minimum, and then I'm a real character, and I'm gonna come after you this turn."
Yeah, you're also going to be running into the situation where they want to do that thing where they're like, I will just never attack. But then like they'll start eventually, building one and passing because they have a bunch of actions and attacks in their hand, and but this entire time you've been like build 4 and passing so that you actually have a huge like natural attack string to go with them, even if you're not pumping any stats. You're still
Mm-hmm.
doing your Godzilla versus Biolante stuff. But yeah, I think I would say that she seems to be very quickly dismissed on that idea of what if they don't attack. But I put it in quotation marks there because it's really not that simple. It's just like, oh, I beat this character by not attacking.
No, I think the other part is more true. I do think she's very predictable. She is very one note. She goes, "I want you to attack me," and then when you don't
Yeah.
kill me, I want to attack you, and I will kill you, ideally.
Yeah.
But what's really going to suck for her is 6 hand size problem of you do all the stuff, you end with no cards in hand, you get like +6/+6, you draw, you have 1 attack.
Yeah. Next up, we have Jin Kazuma. I would say that he is the single like hardest character to evaluate on this list. He's very modal. I mean, I'm going to start the game by giving everything -2 speed, and then at some point, I'm going to give my character a Devil Gene counter and give +2 to my check, so it's effectively -4 speed on whatever big thing I want to block. And then coming into my next turn, I'll have a Devil Gene counter, and I'll have my 2 damage, and at the very end, I'm going to get an extra build. It's very predictable. You're doing your big attack string. If anything gets interrupted, like if you say you get like unexpectedly like breakered really heavy out of your turn to where you can't throw another attack, and you start your next turn with the Devil Gene counter on you, and your attack isn't getting the 2 speed, so that you have to commit and remove the Devil Gene counter on your opponent's turn. That way you can't immediately commit on the next turn. These aren't like the biggest problems, but they're just like tiny wrenches in your plan. And then in the cons there, I hate that he only has one symbol for the devil gene. Most characters, whenever they get a second form, it'll be, they share two symbols and then one of them is different. But for him, for some reason, they were like, it's only the good symbol for the devil gene. I don't really like that. Ignoring the fact that that card's also going to rotate
Embarrassing.
in just a few months. So then he'll be a very different character without that card too.
For sure. I think right now you're right. I think most likely that card's going to matter a lot to this character. I do think because removing the Devil Gene counter is basically free on your rival's turn, you could just choose, because that's just the cost, and you could, build your 0 and go, hey, I'm basically committing my character -2 speed to all of them. Is still worthwhile. But I agree, it's obviously not the ideal thing you want to be happening on that turn.
Yeah, like if you're on the wrong like mode of your character and you have to like commit to lose your devil gene counter on the first attack, it's super suboptimal because then they're gonna play their big bomb later, and you're like, oh no, all I can do is -2 speed. But they're still good stats, 2 damage to everything, -2 speed. That's nothing to sneeze at, right?
And building down 2 things is very cool. And
Oh yeah,
so is getting +2 to your check.
yeah. He's got a lot of good stuff on him.
Yeah, I like this guy. I think it's going to take a little bit of figuring out exactly what the right sequence and the right cards you want to play and build and everything like that. So I'm excited to see what like a final deck looks like, especially if it ends up doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is he's just like so complicated, and he takes. It seems like it takes a lot to like get him going and doing the good things that he needs to do. And I feel like there's probably more that will just do it better and easier.
Yeah, I like that he's not really gated into anything. I mean, like for good, you're just going to be playing your Queen of the Monsters and all that, but on everything else, it's like building him under Chaos and Life. I mean, there's really no guidelines. Like you're just going to do whatever, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't, not that I expect anybody to do that because the Devil Gene being on this guy is like super strong. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think really the only thing, and like, I think this character could definitely go pretty deep into a tournament. I think you just have to have probably chosen to be a person who plays Jin a lot before that might come up, though. He's
Yeah,
getting to
yeah,
the point of
definitely.
needing to know what you're doing really well.
Yeah, very, very purposeful gameplay for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8. Oh man, I just now noticed that number 8 is Jack 8. Holy moly.
Wow.
8, baby.
That is a coincidence. But yeah, man, I'm ridiculously hyped about this guy. He is a very, very promising 5-hander that doesn't draw cards. So light and darkness there. Like he's promising, but again, he doesn't draw cards. What he does, obviously in your deck building process, you're just gonna play several play sets of foundations that flip to draw a card. Like you're gonna play 4. What do you fight for? 4 treasure hunting. You might even play growing unease, the infinity one that just flips to draw, so that you can stop being a 5-hander and actually get access to your foundations that are committing for 2, which is just so crazy. Like I've seen him literally just play 3 colossal confrontation in one turn. That's a 9 diff, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And say you're dead, and it's so cool that like his response makes both players flip a foundation, and then he wants to play colossal confrontation, which ruins on face, so your opponent is now going to be down their face down foundations. The scaling is crazy with him. I mean, once you have 10 face down foundations, you almost have 20 actual foundations, which is like unbelievable. I mean, at that point you are just colossal confrontation, searching all 4 copies or as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna love Zeus Unlimited too. Just building a foundation and being like, oh, there's an attack on top, I'll draw that one. The big negative, the thing I'm apprehensive about it, is on his face he doesn't draw any cards. He's a 5-hander, so he could have some rough starts, like the dreaded 2 build that a 5-hander is so known for could definitely happen to him. Obviously, you're gonna be building your deck with ways around that, but you could just get your stuff rocked in like way too early.
He also doesn't give stats, so I'm scared of a world post rotation where the majority of the cards that he gets to play for cheap, quote unquote, are gone.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, I think everything, at least that I listed there, is safe for rotation for now. Yeah, what do you fight for was Guilty Gear. Colossal was AOT 3.
There's a lot of cool AOT 1 and 2s that he gets to options on for a
Yeah.
little while, but
Signal Shot. Yeah, I think that's an AOT 2 one that is going to
mhm,
rotate. That one's huge for him. Being able to Colossal Confrontation for or shift it during the end phase, then use the first form to flip it and commit something, and then Signal Shot to just pick it back up again. I mean, it's peak. What can I say? It's peak.
for sure.
I love that his face downs can't be like destroyed by rival effects. I think it's so funny that that just like turns off several characters and like cards and their game plans, and he's just like, no, we're not doing that. I'm using these.
Yeah. That one line of text is just like, hey, these random 2 or 3 matchups you might run into, they just don't exist anymore. You don't care.
Yeah, they just don't matter to you.
You
Keep
you in
going.
fact
Yeah.
created an 8-2 scenario where they don't get to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah, that's
silly.
cool. And then he's got a reasonable health total, so
Mhm.
we can be happy about that.
Yeah. Remind me, we got another 5-hander in the set. He's got 32. What's up with that? I wonder why
Got
he's got
another one
that
that only has
low.
30.
Yeah, 30.
Mm.
Well, you can argue, okay, he gains health. Okay, whatever, sure. But, okay, we'll
Your
not
opponent
rant
still
about
only
his
has
last
to count to
anymore.
30 if you start
Yeah,
at 30.
Yeah.
that's the rough part. Next, we've got Nina Williams. Man, I'm in love with this character too. I mean, she's taking 3 damage tribal, in a very cool and new direction. Essentially, just being a 7-hander with 30 health is crazy. You can do some really cool stuff if you want to get crazy with how many 2 checks you're playing on the evil symbol, which reminder does get a life of danger to kind of stem the bleeding of those 2 checks. But you can form to get something out of your discard pile, and then rando spirit gun to say that you can form your once per turn a second time, and then get sniping spy out of your discard pile with Nina Williams. It's another 2 check, but it can then clear the rando spirit gun, so that you're essentially being an 8-hander with 30 health and just getting all these extra attacks out of your discard pile. But I'm really fascinated with the fact that all she has to do is damage with her printed 3 damage or less attacks. So like we had a character that was like pretty interesting in MHA called Moonfish that was 3 damage tribal, but he had to deal 3 or less damage. So you're like, okay, I'm battling a 7-hander. I have to hit them 7 times minimum, right? Yeah, that's what you're telling me. That's horrible. All she has to do is deal damage. Obviously, sucks. Your opponent can block you and then keep your progressive up, but obviously you're gonna build your deck around that in the first place. But she is also not just printed damage 3 tribal. She's also 3 or less, which is super important. We have
Mhm.
that one, forgetting the name of it, the Ghidorah card, Ghidorah 2 card that's 0 damage, but it gets +1 for each foundation in your rival stage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That card's crazy, and you under the same symbol you get to play True 100 Unleashed,
Mhm.
which effectively does the same thing, but also becomes incredibly fast. I think specifically the card selection that she has is super strong right now.
She has cool stuff. That's true. She does not give any stats, which can matter.
Yeah,
Like that means she has to play
She's
ones
so
that do it.
healthy too. Like
Mhm.
she's got these cool words on her, and she's also 6 hand size, 30 health. Like that's very very healthy.
yeah. I'm like super interested in her. I want to see what card she gets. Obviously, like I said, what she currently has is super promising, but I'm really interested to see if they'll take her in a different, interesting way. Another one is Ackerman's team up. If you
Heck
have
yeah.
been clearing a bunch of your printed 3 or less damage cards, then that one's going to be absolutely massive, and you can tutor it from the discard pile. I could
Mhm.
honestly see because she also gets Anchor Toss that deals 2 or less. Obviously, it clears itself, but it's something that you could technically form out of your discard. But if you want a more like a guarantee that things will clear so that your Ackerman's team ups can be huge, then that's something you could play and kind of go in with that. But I'm really interested in the girl that's like, all right, True 100, Rando Spirit Gun, True 100 again. All right, let's do it. Obviously,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I think
sounds
Evil's be a
super
very
crazy.
interesting symbol for her.
Death and evil. They
Yeah,
both can be very good for that. But evil for randos, obviously.
yeah, super interested in her. Next up, we have Kazuya Mishima. So This guy's really interesting. I'm just imagining playing double Trigrav Beam from my removed pile, and giving them a bunch of stats.
Mm-hmm.
When you first read over this card, you're like, oh, that's it. He gets one extra card, but you can actually trigger his once per turn tenacious response on your rival's turn if you are able to remove 4 cards, which is as easy as 2 copies of incubating and they attack twice or something like that. Or you can even give your opponent's stuff damage by removing cards and then just block it like it didn't matter anyway. So that on your next turn, you remove a card, or remove the Devil Gene counter to play a card from your remove pile, and then you remove up to the 4th card again and get the counter back, and then do the form a second time. So there's going to be extremely crazy strings where you're just like, I'm going to play what's normally in my hand, my 3 or so attacks, and then just add a double Tri-Gravity Beam to the end of it and just go crazy. He's going to love Supersonic Flight on the Void symbol. Just when it's removed, you can draw a card, and then if you want, you can spend your Devil Gene counter to play it from removed and get it back into rotation. He plays King Ghidorah Unleashed like
Mm-hmm.
a madman.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna remove it. He's gonna play it. It's gonna get removed. He's gonna play it next turn. It's gonna go to the discard. He's gonna remove it, and he's gonna play it. And like, it's silly. It's
Yeah,
gonna
this guy's
suck
got some
to have
loops.
to. Yeah. It sucks. You're gonna have to remove your stage for damage, but obviously, it's 3 damage, so you'll probably just do that on the turn that you're killing them, or the turn that they don't have any hand. You could do some crazy stuff with like Throat Slitter, giving it 3 damage and just taxing your opponent's hand really well, and then hitting them with that oh so sacred Trigrav Beam 2x combo.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're cycling, remove for 3 damage and sacrifice for 3 damage are like
The
the same
same.
thing, and I think anybody would sacrifice one for 3 damage.
I'm still kind of hoping that there's a card that gives a Devil Gene counter out in the world.
That was going to be the next thing that I said, was I'm still hoping for some sort of card that gives a Devil Gene counter.
Just make it
The
cost a lot.
problem, yeah, the problem being that I think if Reyna had access to it, we would probably see that card get banned, because she does not function like a normal character if she does not have to go through that hoop to get a Devil Gene counter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe make it like, void or evil or something like that specifically, so that Reyna can't use it, because if she does, then we have a brand new problem on our hands of I'm gonna give +3 -3 speed and threaten gaining 2 health, and I haven't even been in danger this game at all.
I mean, at the same
Yeah, that'd be
time, that's
insane.
just Rodan doing minus speeds or plus speeds of that number and never feeling threatened.
True. And that guy wins regionals occasionally.
Mm-hmm. But we haven't banned him.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about this guy. I gotta wonder what kind of like remove synergy we have, because I definitely don't want to be paying that response, or getting that response off by just doing his enhance 4 times. That sounds horrible. So it's definitely like, I know that he's got the card that says Blitz remove 4 from your discard pile to get a heat token, and then obviously he's got access to all of the cards that say Flip remove 10 to get a heat token. But I would kind of want to see something a little more efficient to try to get that response off, especially something that could do it on my opponent's turn.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be the big thing for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns him like from a night and day character of being like, oh yeah, he's cool, to being like, oh god, I'm scared. Number 5, Yoshimitsu from Tekken. He's not from Soul Calibur, okay? Let's put it to rest. He's a Tekken guy. Long last, he's back. Definitely not as strong as the Soul Calibur version that we have, who is, in fact, if y'all don't know, banned in retro.
Mm-hmm.
Too strong for retro. But this guy is really cool. So the only way that I can really articulate his power level is kind of by leaking the sauce right now. You're going to be playing 4 copies of Rising Uppercut. You're going to be playing anti-personnel artillery, and you're going to be playing anti-titan artillery. You're going to rising up your opponent on their turn, obviously. And then if that attack deals damage, you're going to respond with anti-titan artillery to commit one of their cards, and then respond with Yoshi to gain that ability and commit one of their cards, and then also use anti-personnel artillery to commit one of their cards. So the rest of your attack lineup is going to be ranged, so that you can take advantage of +2/+2 by using the anti-personnel enhanced for +1/+1 and copying that with Yoshi. That is the most like effective aggro way to play him that I've found so far, because he is a little restricted on what assets he can not only play, because you can play anything and search it with your first form, but you can only take advantage of that response if it's something that doesn't have like a sacrifice or remove cost or something like that. But that could obviously change if we get better assets for him to copy in Tekken or in the future. On the flip side, though, we have an incredibly strong defensive, like mill out deck, because you can play Dimensional Sphere and block with Dimensional Sphere, remove your rival's attack, and you don't take any damage because it never enters the damage step. And then use Jin's Glove to say, oh, I can block with this turn, and I'm going to copy that ability with Yoshimitsu so that I will block with Dimensional Sphere. Okay, you attack me a third time. I'm going to now use Yoshimitsu to block with Dimensional Sphere a third time. And then, because Jin's Glove is also somehow not unique, you can do that same thing for however many copies of Jin's Glove you have. It's obviously cheating to be talking about the cards he has access to, but he kind of lives and dies on the cards he has access to. So I thought I'd mention at least what we have currently in Standard, but he could go up quite a bit if we get something even better for him to copy in Tekken or beyond in the future.
Yeah, this guy seems super cool. I'm really excited to give him a try. I mean, I'm probably going to be more the Jin's Glove side. I don't know. This guy's got a lot of words that pique my interest very well. I've not really played assets too crazy in the past, but I'm ready to get into it with this one.
Yeah, I like that he kind of takes it in a new direction that we haven't seen before. Garrett and I were kind of begging for him to have just like the mimic static where you can commit an asset to pass a check, but I am glad that they took him in a completely new direction.
Yeah, I don't want to play this guy, but that's just because I think I'm going to have to think too hard to play this guy, and I don't want to think that hard.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I read all these cards and I was like, wow, I have to think twice as much? No, thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to play
Turn my brain
Asuka
Yeah.
and be like, hey, man, can you block? Hey, man, I can block.
Yeah, that's fair. He's kind of a deck builder's paradise for sure, with at least as far as it goes with assets. In that same breath about milling people out with Dimensional Sphere, you could also just, once you've got that set up, you're like, okay, I'll search a Cape of No Return, and then I'll search another one next turn, and just keep removing. Obviously, Yoshi can't copy it, but you still get access to it, and that's a pretty good one to have access to for sure.
True.
Then we've got Lars Alexanderson at 4th place. Man, this guy's crazy. I mean, he's just always threatening to not only build a ton of stuff, but also profit off of it. Like, I'm imagining you could like Queen of the Monsters or, Zeus Unlimited being the big one, his card, of course, to build a bunch of these cards. If you ever build multiple cards before you play another attack, or your attack deals damage so that you can now play a foundation after it and potentially do like +3/+6 on your next attack, and then like slap an EX onto it. I mean, his stats are going to be really unreal, honestly. And then threatening, like, if you don't block them, I'm just going to build another foundation. He's going to be one of my favorites for the fact that you can like a Father's Sin and respond to mill 4 and maybe draw into another card or another attack off of that in the middle of your turn. I love doing that. But of course, you've got to find the cards that draw you cards. Otherwise, he's just going to be like every other, 6 hand size aggro guy that we've dealt with in the past, where he, draws his hand of like 3 attacks, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to build 3 and pass and hope,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really big on this one too. I've been playing a lot of Jacob Johnson using good, and then the Census Ho and Queen of the Monsters, stuff like that, and like being able to do that and then also get +1/+2 on my next one. It's very cool.
You were talking about like the 3 attacks, 3 foundations, but he kind of wants to. He doesn't really want a hand of oops all attacks, because then his enhance is blank, and then he needs those attacks to build stuff, right? And which means he's very limited on what his attack pool can look like at that point. Now, admittedly, 2 of those are just really cracked, so it's not a big deal, or at least not currently a big deal. Yeah, I think he just needs to see more cards, and then, of course, if he gets blocked, then he feels real bad. He feels real sad.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. As soon as you go from like 3 attacks and 3 foundations to 4 attacks and 2 foundations, well then I feel like that's where you're ready to
Yeah.
go in.
Mm-hmm.
And all the foundations, on the order symbol, you could do the what do you fight for classic, just like I'm going to build this foundation that lets me draw, and kind of get the gas fueling. What I'm really hoping for with this guy is a reason to play him under the fire symbol, because I think any fire character that is like good enough gets access to 2 very unique cards that are just really strong on their own. Destructive Heat Ray and Zeus Unlimited. Like being able to play those 2 like powerhouse cards in the same deck. I'm just really interested, but it's not looking like that's going to be the case, at least as long as Queen of the Monsters is around. I mean, you pretty much just have to play him on good, as long
Correct.
as that card is legal. Unfortunately.
For sure.
I also think I'm just more interested in his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, I wonder when she's coming up. Yeah.
There she
We've
is.
got
There
oh
it
no,
is.
oh no. We got Eddie Gordo at number 3. Now, man, I would love to slam this guy at number 1, because for those of you who don't know, my magnum opus was Eraserhead 2, and this guy is like reverse. He's like Bizarro Eraserhead 2. He has essentially the same enhance of, plus something for each attack in your card pool, but this time it's damage, and then if it's completely blocked, draw a card, same thing. But instead of having a defensive ability like Eraserhead 2, he has one of the craziest offensive abilities of just being like, oh yeah, this thing doesn't count towards progressive difficulty, and then I'm gonna play Breakin' and ready him and form and do it again, and just have all these attacks in my card pool, and not worrying about passing checks. I'm one of the most fascinating, if not the most fascinating things about Universus as a whole are those moments whenever your opponent is put into a situation where if they block, they lose something and I gain something, and if they don't block, they lose something and I gain something. So that's why I was so fascinated with Eraserhead 2, is because he says, you better not block my stuff. But then the attack lineup that I played, it was all stuff that says, if this deals damage, I get some sort of bonus. So putting your opponent in that pickle is really fascinating to me. With like specifically the water symbol on this guy, I think he gets a ton of schmoves.
Mm-hmm.
Good and water for that what's it called, Radiant Pegasus Bomb, for Elisa's ultra rare.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to Ocean Buddies to put that in, and then being like, okay, well, I can form to say something doesn't count, so that Ocean Buddies isn't that big of a tax thing, and now you pretty much have to full block everything, or I'm going to start clearing my card pool and building stuff down, and that gives me something to do with all those extra cards that I draw. I mean, he was just revealed like a few days ago, and I already feel like I could write a book about him. Like he fascinates. He'd really want to be playing Elisa, because I love her in Tekken so much, and I do love what her character does, of course. But man, specifically for the UVS side of it, what Eddie does is just like amazing to me. I'll be very hard pressed to not play him at like Atlanta.
Yeah, I think these
Fair.
kinds of characters that, like you said, are like putting your opponent in this like mental pickle are really interesting, because they really play more on like the psychology of like playing against an opponent than like purely just like playing in what your hand or like playing your deck well. It's like it's really making your opponent think, and it's like putting them to the test. Like, can you make the right choice? If I win or not is
Absolutely.
largely dependent on you, like yourself too, but it's also dependent on your opponent making that right choice, and you're really forcing them to know their matchups and know their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love giving 2 bad options to my opponent and going, you get to pick. I want to know which one you think is least bad.
Yeah, right.
That way I
Yeah.
can start making that thing happen over and over, because you're going to hate it.
Man, they have 2 good opportunities to just even more sell it for me. They can either reprint Prone to Dry Eyes, which would be really cool, but be a little weird for him because he already pumps damage. They could give us just the opposite. That's like discard 1 card for +1 speed for the rest of the turn, and yeah, I would 1000% be
Mm.
playing him at Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
that
that'd
card
be
would
great.
be probably too strong, actually.
That card would probably get banned.
Yeah.
So James,
Oh,
are you
man.
gonna pick this guy up? Because like, didn't you play the hell out of Eraserhead too,
Just
or was
one.
it one?
Just the first one.
Ah, it was
Yeah, and I
one.
played
Okay.
Eraser 1, but this guy
Uh,
does look pretty dope, and I am
Eddie's cool.
probably just gonna steal whatever Gavin runs at Atlanta.
Heck yeah.
Classic James fashion.
And then for the cons, just no speed. I mean, obviously your opponent is incentivized to not block him, so it's not that crazy. But if you are, you're like, okay, my opponent is gonna try to take this big, 8 damage move, but I'm not giving any speed, so they can just block it. Sure, you get your card out of it, but they don't die. You definitely the puzzle for this guy is going to probably be less about like playing attacks that say you better not block this or you better block this and more saying like +1 speed, or something like that, plus speed attacks just so that the damage can come through.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are now down to the final two. Reina. So this chick, we've already made the comparison to Rodon. I think the fact that she is unbound by block modifiers or the top of your discard pile, I was telling James in the pre-show that she could very easily just run like +0 and +1 blocks and just never have to worry about it, whereas a lot of if you spend enough time playing against Rodon with an aggro deck, you'll see them occasionally start having to block with their 3 block mods or their 4 block mods, even occasionally. Whereas Reyna is just going to be able to block like an absolute devil, no pun intended. And then whenever you're actually trying to press her to try to get her to crack and die, she's going to be hitting you with that -3 speed over and over and over again. And then you finally get that killing blow in, and she goes back to 5 and then says, okay, I can block even more things now. I think it's just going to be really interesting to see, mainly having Chaos and Death, which are notoriously much more aggressive symbols than the Void that Rodon boasts, and the All symbol that kind of hasn't gotten much in the way of support. So we don't see too much of it in reflecting in Rodon's deck. But yeah, I mean she's not too much to say about her. I mean, these are just really good stats: +3 or -3 speed, being like, I don't have to pick. I can be an aggro demon and I can block incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope you're right because Reyna is hella cool, and I was so excited to see her reveal. And I'm just worried about pressing those buttons, not getting to be as defensive as you want, and you treat yourself like you're 26 health, but you're really 19 health because you're pressing your own button. And then the hope is that you get to heal, right? But they could just go, I can do 26 this turn.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's a little hard of a sell, whenever the +3 or the -3 speed is backing it up.
For sure. It definitely she gets to defend herself really well.
I would not have been surprised if she was just a kind of like a Huarang where it's like +3 speed on everything. Like, oh, that's really strong. But I mean, the fact that she gets to pick is just like it really like effectively doubles the character's strength. From something like Huarang.
For sure.
Kind of convinced me a bit on this. I'll take a bit more look at it. I think that you make a good point. Like, unless they're specifically playing throws, once you die and you have your Devil Gene counter, you do just get -3 speed for actually free. So maybe it's not as easy to get that last 5 damage in as you think.
That's true.
Alrighty, everybody. Drum roll, please. I mean,
Number 1. Who is it? Who is it? Of course it is.
bam.
Why would it be
Elise
anyone
Burr.
I call
else?
bias. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I don't call bias. I actually think this is probably right. I think this character's crazy.
I
Yeah,
I
she looks
really
really good.
I really did not want to put her here. I wanted to. I did everything I could to not put her here. Like, and I can't believe it. Like, day one, I think both Garrett and Dawson were in my DMs separately, being like, just listing off the cards that make her crack, and I was like, you guys know we have a team chat, like we could talk about this together. But in meantime, in the same breath, I'm thinking like, oh my god, I can't wait to build a million cards, I can't wait to draw a million cards, I can't wait to go first on my build turn, play detachable head, build it down, respond with Elisa to ready herself, and then now I have my character up for my build turn going first. Absolute chef's kiss. I can't wait to, play for loot box. That's a card I've been kind of waiting for something to really, because loot box frustrates me because it's one of those cards that's like, oh, it gives you plus to your checks so that you can, or gives you a foundation so that you can pass checks more easily. But it itself is also a 4 check, so it kind of hurts its own strategy. But here it's such a crazy synergy piece. I got to corner the market before the alts get sold,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just imagining, committing her to pass a check and then building with like Queen of the Monsters or something like that, to re-ready her, then committing her to draw a card, and then flipping a loot box to build a card to ready her again so that I'm ready to use her to pass another check. Like, oh man, I cannot wait to be playing this one. I think I do still like the way Eddie is worded more just because of the nostalgia for Eraserhead 2. And, he's a lot more like he doesn't really have much defense going on in him. Whereas she can also just, she can block with like, what's it called? Spirit Beast Poo
Mm-hmm.
and build it down immediately to, ready her character to be ready to either draw another card or pass another check. I mean, this is another one. Like I could easily just be writing another book about her. Like Elisa is just fantastic. Again, a huge con. She doesn't give stats, but she about does everything else though,
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I'm worried about that. Of course, how if you're able to hit your opponent a million times, they then have to block a million times. So I'm not really worried too much about the stats one, but it is there. She would obviously be a much better character if she said, "Oh, after you build a card, your attack gets 4 speed or something like that." But she doesn't, so we live in this world.
True.
Yeah, she just reminds me of like the cool loop with the invisible infiltration and like Sensuso, and then using the Uratogi card that like draws a card and then just resetting
Oh,
it. It's like
yeah.
her, like she's like that, but it's on her face, and so
Yeah,
you just always have access to it.
She just doesn't have to jump through hoops to do it. Yeah.
And like you don't
Mhm.
have to rebuild Uratogi, you get to rebuild actually good, like other good cards, and then still get the draw. Like it seems very crazy.
I think this character's gonna be hella good. It's just gonna be. I don't even know if the no stats matters as much because she'll always have heat, and also if you get to see her her 3-diff foundation, she's always gonna burn for 3 with heat.
Dude, that card is crazy. Oh my god, I'm so happy about it. It's like a perfect translation of
Mm-hmm.
her chainsaw form in Tekken 8 where everybody's like, "But if I block you, I want to be able to not take damage." And it's like, "Sorry, buddy, I'm killing you. Like you can block me, but you're dead, I
Say
love
sorry
it.
about it, but I have chainsaw hands, so.
It's so peak. Like she gets to in like draw it and then see it in the middle of her turn and then also build it in the middle of her turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolute chef's kiss on this character. I was, begging for years that if we ever got Elisa, I was like, please make it good. And here we are. I
I think they
mean,
did.
I
I
really
hate to
would have
think
loved to
so.
not put her in, number one spot and, not show my bias as much. But really, when I'm thinking about all these other characters, I'm like, okay, well, her versus Reyna. Reyna gets to block a bunch, but also you're gonna demand to lose a bunch of health, and eventually you'll probably get in there because you're building so many cards and committing her to pass so many checks and stuff like that. She wins the Heihachi matchup, which is super important because everybody's gonna be playing him.
True.
Like
Mm,
True.
yeah, so
super
many.
super happy about that.
Um.
So, so does this mean her Evo promo, detachable head, is that going to be like running her often? Because I know people were saying like the Evo promos were like not that great,
I
but like is that going to
No, I
be
think that card's
a
good.
choice?
I think it's absolutely going to be at least a 3x in her
Okay.
because like I mentioned, you do have that synergy of, when you go first on your build turn, you build it immediately, ready your
Yeah.
character, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it is one of the easiest ways to gain heat, and if you want, you can just build it again immediately after it adds back to your hand, so you have heat for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Yeah. So it's like it's integral to like her kit basically. It like turns her on kind of.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
um.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it also looks so pretty. So like, how can you
It
not
Yeah,
run
the
does.
a pretty
promo looks
card?
cool.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want any excuse to like run these, right? Like,
Yeah,
Well, the excuse is she's probably pretty good.
yeah, the
And
excuse
she
is that
wants
it's just
that
a good
card.
card for her. Yeah, that's good enough
Um,
for me.
I can tell that Gavin, that you're a casual Tekken 8 enjoyer because you're not downplaying your main. You really
oh
needed
yeah,
Elisa
yeah.
to be like 5th on the tier. Be like, nah, she's totally fair, guys. I promise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I'm So the bright side I think with Tekken is that like even if Elisa got eroded into the ground or banned or whatever, I could be happy with at least 4 or 5 of these other characters to be like my main in UVS. So
Hmm.
that's the bright side. Like I could, if we live in a world where she and Eddie both get eroded, I really don't know. I don't think that'll ever happen. That would be very
Just play
scary.
Reina.
Yeah. Well, I don't really like her that much. I
That's
think
fair.
if we're talking like excitement, I'm like super big on Elisa, Eddie, Jack 8, Lars, of course, and honestly like Huarang just for the 100 lightning kicks, to be honest.
I
I'll
think
show
it's
my
cool.
hand. Like, yeah, I love getting that card back and just I'll play it again. I'll play it again. Beautiful.
Yeah, getting the cycle and playing it 3 times is gonna be funny.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and another, fire symbol character that wants to play a Father Sin. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Alrighty, y'all. It's been a pleasure having you on for this. Any final notes before we get out of here and brood on our Tekken 8 reveals coming up?
I think she deserves to be number one. I'm glad she's there. I
Yeah,
knew from the beginning. I knew from the beginning that she was gonna like when I first found out that we were getting a Tekken 8 set. I just had a feeling. I was like, they're gonna do something cool with her. They have to.
yeah. I'm glad. I mean, honestly, like no matter what gets printed on the character, she's best because she's best girl. She's
Yeah,
she's
that's
there.
true.
Number 0,
That's
even
the
in
truth.
fact, not number 1.
Yeah.
Fair, fair.
Huawei deserves justice.
He
That
does.
too.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's a world we get one more good kick because we have a few. Like we get one more good kick on his symbols, and I think his stocks rise quite a bit.
I sure hope
Here's
so.
hoping. 100,000 lightning kicks. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There.
Just reprint Crow and Frog
1.3
and make it a
million
kick.
lightning kicks.
Holy Crow and Frog mentioned.
I guess I did have kick on it.
Had a great time talking about Tekken 8 characters with you, Gavin. If you guys don't know us, again, we're Response on Play. You can follow us on YouTube at Response on Play or anywhere else. We do Universus content and we do content for other card games as well. And we also did a Huarang reveal. So if you like him as much as we do, you should go check it out.
Peace.
Someone else has to say bye. Yeah.
Bye.